Hey you guys, how you guys doing out there? Hope everybody is doing fantastic. Back with another video, EP133 KO2 killer combos. A few things that you may need to know when you're navigating your KO2. For those of you out there that are loving it, keep loving it. For those of you that hate it, I don't know what to tell you. But let's get into it. So this here is not a combo, but just a quick fun fact. For those of you that don't know, the EP133 KO2 does go to sleep after about 3 to 5 minutes. If you notice on the screen is super dim, but all you got to do is just hit a key and it pops back on. First things first, let's get into some of the MIDI codes. You hit shift system, you type in 100. 100 is going to be MIDI clock off. Then you can hit shift system, type in 101. That's going to be MIDI clock in, and shift system 102. That's going to be MIDI clock out. Next, let's get into the velocity quick codes. So you hit shift system and you type in 300. That's going to be velocity off. Velocity off just means that your pad is going to hit at a regular velocity. It's not going to be soft. It's not going to be hard. It's just going to hit at the volume that you have that particular note at. If you do shift system 302, it's going to be velocity low, which means that the softer you hit the pad, the softer the velocity of that note is going to be. So if you hit shift system and you go 400, that's going to be metronome on during record and play. That means the metronome or the click is going to play during the record process, and it means the metronome is going to play as you play your pattern. It's playing during the recording process. And when we stop recording, the metronome is still playing. If we hit shift system and we do 401, this is going to mean that the metronome is going to play during record only. You hit record and it's only going to play while record is active. But once I stop the record process, the metronome actually stops. Now this is odd, but they don't have a quick key for counting. To access your count-in metronome, which means that the metronome only plays during the count in. It doesn't play during record or play. You have to press shift system and you have to go to the sequence. You have to actually tell the KO2 to play during counting, and you'll see C and T on the screen. You hit enter, and now the KO2 will only play during the count-in or the countdown, and then it stops. So while we're on the topic of metronome, let's talk about the metronome volume. You can access your metronome volume by hitting tempo or holding tempo and turning the wide knob. While I'm holding tempo, I'm turning the wide knob, and you can see that that controls your metronome volume. You can have it low or you can turn it high, whichever suits your needs. So let's talk about pad combos here. We're going to copy and paste a pad or group. We're going to start with the pad. So right now we're in group A, and we're going to copy the sound on this pad to group B, pad 8. So we make sure we're in the sound menu. We hit sound, hit the pad, shift C for copy, copy the pad. Now we're going to go to B, hit pad 8, and we're going to paste that pad, shift D for paste. Now that sound is on pad 8. Now let's talk about the group. We're going to copy a group. This is the group we're going to copy. Kick, hi-hat, and a snare in group A. We're going to take that group and we're going to copy it to group B. We're going to hit shift, copy twice to access the group. It copied the group. Now we're going to go to B and we hit shift D for paste. And now that group is in group B. We copied it from group A to group B. Now let's talk about copy and pasting bars and patterns. We're going to start with copying a bar. I just want to point out that you can only copy one bar at a time, and the KO2 is going to copy exactly what you have in that bar. Now, here we have pattern A4, which is only one bar. So we're going to copy this one bar to an empty pattern, which is pattern A5. So let's play the pattern, shift C copy bar. Now we're going to go to the empty pattern, which is A5, and we're going to paste that pattern, that bar rather. And there's the bar. And let's add a bar. So now we have two bars. We have this bar, and the next bar is going to be empty, right? So it's going to play the bar, and it's going to play an empty bar with only the bass line. Let's copy this pattern. So we're in A4. We're going to copy that pattern to A5. Shift C, copy pattern. Let's go to A5, which is the empty pattern, and we're going to paste it. Now that pattern is going to be on A5. Now let me show you what I meant by it's going to copy exactly what you have there. So let's advance to this bar here, which is just the bass line. We're just focusing on the second bar, not the first bar, which is this. Second bar, which is this. And we're going to take that second bar and we're going to paste that to the empty pattern A5. I just want to show you how the KO2, how it copies bars. So let's go to the second bar and we're going to copy this into this empty pattern here. And it just copied that. It only copies exactly what you have in that bar. But if you want to copy the pattern, it's going to copy exactly what you have in that pad. To erase a sound from a pad, we're going to erase sound file from the pad. We're going to hold sound and we're going to hit 0. Now there's no sound there. We don't want to erase it from the drive. We just want to erase it from the pad. So again, to show it again, to erase a sound from a pad, you hit sound and assign 0 to that pad. And it'll remove the sound. And to put the sound back, of course, you hold sound and you put the sound back in. So to erase a track, the track on pad 5 during playback, we're going to hold erase and the pad. And it's going to record right over the pad. Now that pad is no longer there. You can also hold multiple pads at the same time to erase. So we're going to erase 4 and 6. And now those two sounds are no longer there. To erase a pattern, we're in pattern B2 right now. So to erase a pattern, you hold erase plus hold the group that the pattern is held on. And that's the end of that pattern. If you want to erase multiple patterns, let's say you have the kick in pattern B and you have the snare and the hi-hat in pattern C, you can erase both of those patterns the same way by holding erase and just going over the pattern. So once that pattern cycles through, if you want to erase a scene, you hit erase and main, and you'll see scene delete flash across the screen, and that scene is no longer there. So if you want to erase a project, you hold main to see what project you're in. We're in project 3. You'll erase main and the pad the project is on. You'll see project delete flash across the screen, and that project is then deleted. If you want to erase a track, you stop playback, you hold erase and the track that it's on, and you'll see track delete flash across the screen, and now that track is no longer there. Do understand that when you erase a track, you're not erasing it from the disk, you're just erasing it from the pattern or the program or project that you're in. You're not erasing it from the disk. I just wanted to make a distinction. When you erase a track, you're just erasing the track from the project or the program. You're not erasing it from the disk. If you wish to erase a sound from the disk, that's a completely different key combination, which is this. I'm going to erase this sound from the disk. Okay. In order to do that, You make sure you're on the sound, you'll erase sound, and you'll see sound delete, and that sound is now erased from the disk. Now, if you wish to overwrite everything in your program, let's say you don't like anything that you did. Let's say you did a project or let's say you did a pattern that you didn't like and you want to erase everything. You don't want to go through each sound. You hold shift, record and play, and that will actually overwrite everything that you did. When you let it go, there's nothing there. There actually is a mute in the KO2. It is a little tricky. It takes some practice. You have to actually catch the sound on beat. So if you want to mute a sound, you hit record. Well, you hold down record and the sound at the same time, but you have to catch it on beat. If you don't catch it on beat, it will record what you did. Let me demonstrate. I'm going to mute the snare. I'm going to mute the hi-hat.